In this week's episode of Naruto Shippuden, Madara Uchiha officially leaves the Konoha village to start his world-ending plans. This week's episode was really important in terms of the story. The animation and the artwork and the pacing, however, could have been handled a little bit better, but honestly, there's only so much you can take away from this episode. Madara doesn't want to be in the village anymore, he's afraid that nobody can trust him, and so he decides to leave, because he finds this ancient stone tablet which he feels is going to lead him to his true destiny, and thus he and Hashirama can never truly work together. However, there are some pretty cool things about this episode. It is kind of nice to be able to see Konoha Village being built when it was first being formed, and you also got to learn a little bit more about the ninja world, how all the other different ninja clans started their own different villages, and I don't know why, but waterfall, grass, and rain never gets any love, and a lot of that probably has to do with the fact that they are smaller villages. But considering that the series is coming to an end pretty soon, it's a shame they really didn't do too much with the characters from those villages. The only ones that can really come to mind, I think, was Kakuzu, who was from Hidden Waterfall, and originally I thought that Zetsu was going to be from Hidden Grass, but apparently that is definitely not the case. But this week's episode did have a little bit of action at the end of the episode, which was cool. We got to see the final confrontation, or one of the final confrontations, between Madara and Hashirama, just getting to see more of their abilities, and you really get to see how overwhelmingly powerful Hashirama is. His Sage Art abilities combined with the fact that he has this massive Buddha statue made out of wood. And what I think is really awesome and a nice detail that I noticed in the manga version, but it's very noticeable in the anime version, is the fact that his other giant wood golem creature, which has the dragon wrapped around it, is actually sitting on top of the head of the Buddha statue, and he actually uses that to stop Kurama this week before him and Madara have their big final confrontation. That is until the end credits decides to rear its ugly head. Otherwise, what's the rundown on this week's episode of Naruto Shippuden? I skipped a lot of elements this week, but that's only because there's only so many things you can take away from this week's episode. There are some interesting things. I do like how the episode opened up with Hashirama walking through the village, nodding to everybody, and there's even this one cute little girl who gives him a flower which looks a lot like a different version of Ino, and it might have actually been one of her ancestors or someone from her clan originally. But another scene pops up where Madara tries to help out another little girl, and she gets completely freaked out when she sees him because, unlike Sasuke and Itachi, for some odd reason, Madara just gives off this, like, aura of evil, and everybody just seems to sense that. But really, it's sort of Tobirama who sort of, like, screws everything over for Madara this week, especially when he was talking behind his back, and clearly Madara was listening the whole time, and you know, it was definitely him, because he was always playing with those leaves. In fact, he was the one who actually came up with the name for the village, which was the village hidden in the leaves, which eventually became Konoha. And you can see that this is so early in the formation of the village that they don't even have the name yet. They haven't even decided who's going to be the leader of the Hokage yet. And of course that leads to the big confrontation where Hashirama wants Madara to be the Hokage. And he has a really great reason for this, which is because all of his brothers are gone, he wants to consider all the other members of the village as his siblings, and he wants him to protect them. However, in a way, this sort of opens old wounds from Madara. And in a way, this is also hurting Madara as well. It's also pushing him over the edge, which is giving him the drive to sort of leave the village. And he even tries to get acceptance from his clan members, but they'd rather just stay in Konoha, so he's officially been pretty much abandoned by everyone. And at the end of the episode, you get to see he reveals his brand new Mangekyo Sharingan, and I love the confrontation where he's leaving, where Hashirama wants to know if his big plans are related to the village, and he'll try to help him in any way. But Madara so smugly just says, no, this is far beyond you, this has nothing to do with the village, and just leaves ominously before we get that action scene. So, there it is this week. Sasuke got all the answers he's going to get, and we're finally going to get to hear his answer, hopefully in next week's episode, which will eventually lead into some more crazy action, which is what I really want to see from the rest of this arc. Otherwise, I liked this episode. I didn't love it. I was kind of hoping that the pacing would be a little bit better. I felt like maybe they could have gone through a lot of the stuff in the first half of the episode a little quicker. I do like the fact, though, that there was very little dialogue in the beginning. It was pretty much all imagery. And a lot of the times in animation, that's all you need to get your point across. You don't need a lot of clumsy exposition. You just need really good artwork and animation. Although this episode was just sort of so-so for me. But again, it had some really important parts to it. So I'm going to give this week's episode a 7 out of 10. Very well above average, and it's still a really good episode in terms of the story. And I'm hoping to see a little bit more from next week's episode. So there it is, guys. Check it out. Pretty good stuff. Also, before I go and just Naruto Shippuden related news, I should probably mention, you guys have probably already heard there's going to be a brand new Naruto movie coming out at the end of this year. Yes, it's coming out on December 6th, 2014. And I really couldn't tell you much about the movie. It supposedly has the subtitle The Last, which could imply that it is the final movie, and there is a small concept art of what Naruto is going to look like in that movie. And he looks a little older, believe it or not, and he actually has very short hair. But that's all that's been revealed about the movie, aside from the fact that it might also have something to do with ramen. Don't quote me on this. If you guys want to learn a little bit more about this, I will put a link to the article about this movie in the description box below so you guys can check it out. Thank you guys for watching my review today. Before you go, please hit that like button so you can give this video a thumbs up. And please tell me what you thought about this week's episode of Naruto Shippuden and what you hope to see from the future of the series and in the rest of this badass war arc. Remember, guys, you can also subscribe to our channel if you have not already, and you can also check us out on Facebook and on Twitter. I'll put those in some links in the description box below.
Do you like Amazon.com? I know I do. Corey and I now have an Amazon link in our video description box below. And if you go to it and buy anything through Amazon.com, it will support our channel. So bookmark that link, make it happen, and support our channel without having to do a damn thing.
Another great way you guys can help support our channel is by donating directly through our PayPal link in the description box below. We recommend $2 a month, although this is completely optional. But the best way to go about this is by sneaking into your mom's room and taking $2. This way, she won't even notice. And we won't have to shake you up for all of your lunch money. So guys, that concludes this review today. Super Kami Guru 9000. Out.